ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on this. So we are in the fourth chapter. These are the qualities of Rishabhadev. So yesterday's session, we were discussing the important aspect in yesterday was two things. We are calling the Lord for our material things. So that is what the regret is. Like sometimes stomach is not cleared, also we call the Lord. so the point is that we are using the Lord for many petty things. So here that is what is happening with King Navi. So we discussed that yesterday. I will just revise it for you, 2 minutes. So Navi, he performed yajna, and most important thing in the yajna is not the ingredients. Ingredients are there. Prabhupada was also telling. This part is helpful to get rid of our karma, bad karma. But to please the Lord, for the Lord to appear, what is important is the consciousness. The secret in him is the affection for the Lord. That means that consciousness to please Him. So that is the important aspect of our sacrifice. So our daily activity should be in the act of sacrifice, but in that sacrifice also, the ingredient that is needed for us to go closer to Lord is the affection. So that was the main ingredient, Prabhupada also telling. And then we saw, then Lord appears, the beautiful form of the Lord, and the description of Lord's form is given. Then the priest, they started offering prayers. They say, Lord, you are self-sufficient, you don't need our service or any of our ingredients, and you are also transcendental, and we are offering our obeisances as instructed by the acharyas. That's how they pray. And then they say, oh, all of life's goals and opulences are directly self-sufficiently, unceasingly and unlimitedly increasing in you at every moment. So Lord is unlimited. His opulences are always increasing for the Lord. He is more and more becoming beautiful. And then he says, you do not need this arrangement. This sacrifice is not for the Lord's benefit, but for the benefit of devotees. And arrangements are meant for us so that we may be benefited by your lordships. And then, for Lord will be pleased with simple tulsi leaf and water. No need of all the opulences. No need of giving all these things. What he needs is the devotion part. And then they start regretting. My dear Lord, for what we called you? People pray to the Lord, help me clear my stomach also. Like that, we pray for the Lord for everything. It's not wrong. At least we are depending on Lord for everything. But asking for the Lord material thing is like a beggar asking a millionaire for a small, little grain, like that. So it is the irony. Lord can give something more, but we don't know what to ask the Lord. And then they say, my dear Lord, let us remember you at the time of death, because that time it is very high fever, death, yawning, stumbling, hungering, falling. All the time let us remember you. So please help us remember you, uttering the holy name. So that is the prayer they say. And then they say, oh, we actually offended you by calling you for such petty thing. We want to have a son and we called you. And you are such a busy person. But still, you are so kind, even for such a small petty thing. Like you are calling the Prime Minister of India, you had a dispute with your neighbor and you are calling your Prime Minister and telling, see, settle my dispute with the neighbor. And Lord is also very kind. He said, okay, you really have a problem, I'll help you. So, by inviting the Supreme Lord to a negligible sacrifice for a material motive, we have committed an offense at your lotus feet. And Lord says, okay, no problem. You want to have a son like me, but there is nobody, no one second with. I am a supreme person without a second, so I will only appear as the son. So I shall personally expand myself in a previous portion and bend myself in the womb of Meru Devi. So in that way, Rishabh appeared. So then we have today's session is. So then we have Rishabh Dev here. So now there is supreme exemplary and duty and dharma. So we'll just see. This is also very nice. An exploration of avatar of Rishabdev. So he is born to King Nabi and Queen Meru Devi, and Rishabdev appeared to demonstrate the perfection of human life within the socio-spiritual order. We'll see what it is. So when he descended, the birth signs are in telling, because on the feet all the marks of the Supreme Lord are there. King Nabi named him Rishabh, the best, because he excelled all beings in power, strength, beauty, name, fame, and enthusiasm. And then, of course, here Indra is portrayed little looking like a demon, but Indra becoming envious of Rishabdev, he stopped rain. But Rishabdev did not retaliate. He utilized his power and he profusely poured rain. So, unto his own kingdom, Ajanaba. That time it was, Bharatavarsha is called Ajanaba. And then his King Nabi, Nabi treated Supreme Lord as his own helpless child. His affection allowed him to experience intense transcendental bliss. So Nabi was very fortunate in that way. So then he coronated his son's, recognizing his son's popularity, Nabi enthroned Rishabdev to protect the Vedic system, and he departed. You see, such a nice thing. After coronating, he is having his son as a Supreme Lord. He could have stayed in the kingdom, but he didn't stay there. He left with his wife. He said, you take care. And for whom he is going? He is going for the Lord only. And he went to Badrikashram to worship Narayana. And then he attained to Vaikuntha planet. So the philosophy. So the avatar, the qualities of the Lord are explained, independent, eternal, blissful, and all these things. We'll come to it. And then is the exemplary student and householder. So then Ajanaba Varsha then becomes into Bharata Varsha, because the eldest son of Rishabdev is Bharata. From there it becomes Bharata Varsha. Then about the 9 sons of Rishabdev, they became Navayogendras. And then remaining sons, they all take up to different aspects. And so we'll come to this, the golden age of satisfaction. And Rishabdev performed the rituals, sacrifices 100 times to satisfy Vishnu, and then the instructions, which is the next chapter. So we'll come to what Prabhupada is trying to share in this regard. We'll hear from Prabhupada. So here Sukadeva Goswami said, as soon as the Lord was born as the son of Maharaj Nabi, he manifested the symptoms of Supreme Lord, such as marks on the bottom of his feet and the flag, thunderbolt, etc. This son was equal to everyone and very peaceful. He could control his senses and mind, and possessing all opulence. He did not hanker for material enjoyment. Endowed with all these attributes, the son of Maharaj Nabi became very powerful day after day. Due to this, the citizens learned citizens, learned Brahmanas, demigods, and ministers avoided Rishabdev to Ajnaba to be appointed ruler of earth. Rishabdev to be appointed. So yeah, Prabhupada is telling in these days of cheap incarnations, it is very interesting to note that the bodily symptoms found in an incarnations from the very beginning. So this is very important. So it is not. It's actually very important to know that many people they criticize that in India na many incarnations appear. You don't, but of course there are two problems in this. One is bogus incarnations, one are genuine also. So for the genuine, there is the symptoms are given, so we can remember some of the symptoms from the very birth. From the very beginning of his birth, he was observed. It was observed that Rishabdev's feet was marked with transcendental signs. In addition to this, as the Lord began to grow, he became very opulent, very prominent. He is equal to everyone. Means very kind-hearted. He did not favor one person and neglect another. An incarnation of God must have 6 opulences: strength, wealth, strength, knowledge, beauty, fame, renunciation. It is said that although Rishabdev was endowed with all opulences, he was not at all attached to material enjoyment. He was self-controlled and therefore liked to by everyone. Due to his super excellent qualities, everyone wanted him to rule the earth. An incarnation of God has to be accepted by experienced people by the symptoms described in Shastras, as an incarnation is not accepted simply by adulteration of foolish people. Actually, now Gaur Purnima is coming, so few things I want to tell. For Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord, that should also be understood. Because people may say, Arey, no, anybody can say anything, and but how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord then? Who is approving? Actually, in Vedic culture, there are no many biographies. So there are no biographies much. That is what is Vedic culture. Because even if you see Puranas and all, no, very important aspects only are written in it. Not everything about some people. So it is like whichever incidents are needed for a person's spiritual growth, they are actually mentioned in the Puranas. So this culture is not there. But when you will not find any books like that, no biographies, and hardly there is autobiographies. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was present on the earth, that time only almost 100 biographies are written. When he was present only, many people started writing, and after he left also they wrote, of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita and other Chaitanya. So why they are writing? Because that time only they could see the symptoms that he is the Supreme Lord only. So that is the difference with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you will not find about any personality like that, because that time, here it is said, no, an incarnation of God has to be accepted by experienced people and by the symptoms described in the Shastras. An incarnation is not accepted simply by adulteration of foolish people. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also is like that. He is not accepted, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur accepted And you can see what quality of people are accepting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, very, very learned, scholarly people. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidyabhushan. You see what is the caliber of the people who are accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Supreme Lord. You are understanding. So here this is very important. And then they have proof from Shastras also. So they have proof from Shastras also. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Lord. Like that. So here we see that so when the sons of Maharaj Nabi became visible, he envisaged all good qualities described by the great poets, namely a well-built body with all symptoms of Godhead, powers, strength, beauty, name, fame, influence and enthusiasm. When the father, Maharaj Nabi, saw all these qualities, he thought his son to be the best of human beings or the supreme being. Therefore, he gave him the name Rishabh. To accept someone as God or an incarnation of God, one must observe the symptoms of God in his body. All the symptoms were found in the body of Maharaj Nabi's extraordinary powerful son. His body was well structured. It displayed all transcendental qualities. He showed great influence. He could control his mind and senses. Consequently, he was named Rishabh. So these are very important things. See, somebody may have good, very extraordinary structure, bodily structure is good. But to have transcendental qualities along with that, it is something. And then great influence, control on mind and senses, all the things are not possible in one person. That's why Rishabh Dev is Lord. Because all the things are there in him. Then he says that Indra, the king of heaven, who was very materially opulent, became envious of King Rishabdev and consequently stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatavarsha. At that time, the Supreme Lord Rishabdev, the master of all mystics, understood King Indra's purpose and splined a little. Then by his own powers, through Yogamaya, he profusely poured water upon his own place, which was known as Ajanaba. So that time it was Ajanaba. So we find the word Bhagavan used twice in this verse, both King Indra and Rishabdev. So this word Bhagavan is for somebody who is extraordinary Bhagavan due to their extraordinary opulence, Shiva, Narada and all. So here Rishabdev, he did not fight like King Prithu. Prithu did different. So Rishabdev said, okay, why to waste time? Consequently, with the Yogamaya, he not depending on Kindra for water, he himself created the water. So why? Because Bhagavad Gita says water comes not because of water cycle. Evaporation of water, clouds are formed. That is actually the scientist formula. That is the external reason of rain. And that not the internal reason. Internal reason is if evaporation is happening all the time. But sometimes you see that there are no rains. So they don't have any logical answer for it. So if rain is because of due to performance of yajna, that is actually the rain. Clouds of water manifest in the sky. Clouds and rainfall are under the management of Indra, king of heaven. So it is not, people say, evaporation of water. So now the question is, it should always, you should get rain in time, na? So why it is not happening then? Why there is no rain in time? If it is because of only evaporation? No, that is just external reason, how the system is shown. But internally there is different management. And if you do yajna, yajno vai Vishnu, and parjanyad, annad bhavanti parjanyad. So yaj and parjanyad yajna sambhav. So from yajna comes all these rains. But Lord is Yajnapati. So he can create whatever he wants. At the present age, you see, in the present age of Kali, there will eventually be great scarcity of water for the general populace due to ignorance of scarcity of yajnic ingredients will neglect the performing yajnas. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore advised, Yajna is Sankirtana Prayanti Sumedha. You don't have ingredients. We don't get ghee only, no? So where will you do Yajna? So that's why it is better you do Sankirtana Yajna. So in your house, if you don't want any scarcity, two things should be done. Read Bhagavatam, chant. There is no scarcity of anything. You will get your food. Food and all opulences. So what I should do? Chant and Bhagavatam. So these two things happens. Now everything is possible. Like in ashrams, how ISKCON temples are running. Because devotees chant and then the brahmacharis are happily chanting and reading Bhagavatam. All facilities are coming to them. They are not working also. So that is not that they are not lazy. They are doing other services. But most important thing is Lord is maintaining. So every family in every society can conduct Sankirtan Yajna at least every evening. In this way, there will be no disturbance or scarcity in rain. It is essential for people in this age to perform Sankirtan Yajna in order to be materially happy and to advance spiritually. You see, materially happy also. All opulence, food, everything comes. You do Sankirtan Yajna. It is not our formula, it is the formula from the scriptures. Right? And then due to getting a perfect son according to his desires, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and flattering voice that he addressed his son, "My dear son, my darling." This mentality was brought about by Yogamaya, whereby he accepted Supreme Lord, Supreme Father as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. So here, you see, here the attachment, the difference between the discussion was happening, spiritual and material attachments. And material attachments. So, what is the main difference? Here, in spiritual attachments, there is no expectations. In material attachments, you have expectations. So, if I am attached materially or spiritually, if you want to know, it is based on expectations. And even materially also, if you are attached to somebody and you are not having expectations, you experience great bliss. So, no expectations, great bliss. Like a mother, when the child is very small, mother is taking care of the child without any expectations. So selflessly she is serving, because the child cannot do anything. So she becomes very joyful. And if it happened to be Supreme Lord, how much joyful the father and mother will be, because they are serving the child. Normally also when the child is very small, father and mother becomes very happy. The father is coming after working home and he sees a small child and he want to play with him, do something to pleasing the child, and he becomes very happy. Same thing with the mother also. So, but what happens in material attachment? You start expecting from the other person. Like a boy is in love with a girl, he expects that the girl also reciprocate. If she does not reciprocate, he will get frustrated because that is material attachment. When it comes to spiritual attachments, spiritual attachment is what? I just want to serve the person, no matter whether Krishna is, Aslishlava Padaratam Vinashtuma. Because I like Krishna and we just want to give him something all the time. So, no expectations. That's why spiritual attachment is also great bliss. So if you don't have any expectations, there is bliss. That's why material attachments causes so much pain eventually. With no expectation, it causes bliss. So here we see that Nabhi, because his son, two advantages. Nabhi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection. So that means he is not having any expectation because he is anyway son only. But he happened to be Supreme Lord. So he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. So he got that advantage, special advantage. The word Maya is used in the sense of illusion. Considering the Supreme Lord to be his son, Maharaj Nabi was certainly an illusion, but this was transcendental illusion. This illusion is required. Otherwise, how can one accept the Supreme Lord his own son? Supreme Lord appeared as the son of one of his devotees, just as Lord Krishna appeared as son of Yashoda and Nanda. These devotees could never think of their son as a Supreme Lord, for such appreciation would hamper their relationship of parental love. So this is the point here. And then King Nabi understood that his son Rishabha was very popular among citizens and among government officers and ministers. Understanding the popularity of son, Maharaj Nabi enthroned him as the emperor of the world to give protection to the general populace in terms of Vedic religious system. To do this, he entrusted him into the hands of learned Brahmanas who would guide him in administrating the government. Then Maharaj Nabi and his wife Meru Devi went to Badrikashram Himalayas, where the king engaged himself very expertly in austerities and penance with great jubilation. In full samadhi, he worshipped Supreme Lord Naranarayana, who is Krishna in his plenary expansion. By doing so, in course of time, Maharaj Nabi was elevated to the spiritual world as known as Vaikuntha. In one shot, everything explained. He saw his son is popular and he understood, okay, what should I do? He entrusted his son to the Brahmanas and then he happily left to Badrikashram. So this is the most important thing. To live home is the most important thing. Why Maharaj Nabi has to live? In the home only Supreme Lord is there. Still he is living, you see. Such a important instruction. So Maharaj Nabi, so this should give us excitement. Went to Badrikashram in the Himalayas, and this should be the source of inspiration for all of us. Expertly arranged in austerities and penance and great jubilations. So when somebody is doing this, they should be our heroes. So Nabi is our hero. So Nabi renounced. Even though Supreme Lord at home. Same thing with Karda Muni also. Kapila is at home and he is going to the forest. Of course, in Kapila's case, in Karda Muni's case, Karda Muni is in Dasya Rasa. And at home, his son is in, if he is, Supreme Lord is his son. So it's Vatsala Rasa. So there was some disturbance in his Rasa. He wanted to be in Dasya Rasa. So he went to forest. He said, at home I had to treat Supreme Lord as my son. It did not match for him. At here Nabi, he didn't have that problem. Still he went because he understood that's how he should go. And can you imagine how much he must be feeling pained at heart, leaving his son. If son is the ordinary person, he could have left. His Supreme Lord only is living. Every day he was taking darshan of Lord and now he is going to Badrikashram. So Maharaj Nabi saw that his son Rishabha was popular among general populace and government servants. He chose to install him as the imperial throne. In addition, he wanted to entrust his sons into the hands of Brahmanas. This means that a monarch was supposed to govern strictly according to Vedic principles under the guidance of learned Brahmanas who could advise him according to the standards of Vedic scriptures like Manu Samhita and similar Shastras. So, this is an important point. They cannot be independent. They have to be under the learned Brahmanas who could advise. So it is the duty of the king to rule the citizens according to Vedic principles. According to Vedic society, is divided to 4 ashrams and all. So here, another important thing is Maharaj Nabi, although still a king, retired from family life and went with his wife to a place called Badrikashram. So he could went with his wife. So that is also very interesting. His wife also followed and worshipped. The word prasanna nipunena tapasa indicate that the king accepted all kinds of austerities very expertly and jubilantly. He did not at all mind living his comfortable life at home, although he was emperor. Despite undergoing severe austere penances, he felt very pleased at Badrikashram and did everything there expertly. So in this way, he became fully absorbed in Krishna conscious, always thinking of Krishna, Vasudeva. Maharaj Nabi attained success. He went to Vaikuntha Loka. So in this way, the Vedic life, one must stop the process of repeated birth and death. Siddha Swami says, Mahima means liberation in this life. We should act in such a way in this life that after giving up this body, we will become liberated. So this is called Jivan Mukta. So Viragavacharya, so many acharyas are commenting on this verse. Viragavacharya states in the Chandogya Upanishad that the 8 symptoms of Jivan Mukta, a person who is already liberated even when living in this body, the first symptom of one so liberated is that he is free from all sinful activities. So this is the first symptom of a Jivan Mukta. As long as one is under the clutches of Maya and the metal energy, one has to engage in sinful activities. So Bhagavad Gita describes, describes such person as Duskritina, which indicates that they are always engaged in sinful activities. One who is liberated in this life does not commit any sinful activity. Sinful activity involves all these things. And another symptom of liberated, this is the second one. So this is the first one. Another symptom of liberated person is Vijara, which indicates that he is not subjected to miseries of old age. Symptoms of Vimrutyu. So this is third one. So he does not have old age, means not affected by old age. Like Prabhupada at the age of 70 is going and traveling, and first is no sinful activity, and Prabhupada never had any effect. So he was traveling. Vimutya. The liberated person prepares himself in such a way that he does not take on any more material bodies which are destined to die. So he will not have another bodies. In other words, he does not fall again into the pit of repeated birth and death. Another symptom is Vishoka. So this is the fourth symptom, which indicates that he is callous to material distress and happiness. He is not affected, he will not become shoka. And what is the fifth symptom? Is Vijakatsa, which indicates that he has no longer desires for material enjoyment. No material. And what is the sixth symptom? Apapata, which means that he has no desires other than to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, his dearmost pursuable Lord. So, and what is the seventh symptom? Satyakama. Satyakama indicates that all his desires are directed to the Supreme Truth, Krishna. So these are and Satya Sankalpa. So this is eighth one. Whatever he desires is fulfilled by grace of Krishna. So these are the 8 symptoms of a liberated person. First is apahata papa. That means he is free from sinful activities. Vijara, does not affect by old age. Vimrutyu, will not take body again. Vishoka, is not affected by material distress and happiness. Vijagatsa means no material enjoyment. Apipata, he is always in no desires other than engaging in service of Lord. Satya Kama means all his desires are directed towards the Supreme Lord, and Satya Sankalpa means his desires are fulfilled by Krishna. So first of all, he does not desire anything for his material benefit. Secondly, if he desires anything at all, he simply desires the service of the Lord. This desire is fulfilled by Lord's grace. This is called Satya Sankalpa. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that the word Mahima means returning to the spiritual world, back home, back to Vaikuntha. Sukadeva Goswami says the word Mahima means that the devotee attained the qualities of Supreme Lord. This is called Sat Dharma, or the same qualities. Just as Krishna is never born and never dies, his devotee who returned to the Godhead never dies and never takes birth again. So this is the commentary by Veer Raghavacharya for this verse. And then he says, Maharaj Parikshit, O Maharaj Parikshit, to glorify Maharaj Nabi, the old sages composed two verses. One of them is, who can attain the perfection of Maharaj Nabi? Konut karma rajarshe nabhir anya acharet puman apatyatam agad yasya harir shuddhena karmana. Who can attain his activities? Because of his devotional service, Supreme Lord agreed to become his son. So word Shuddhena Karmana are significant in this verse. If work is not carried out in devotional service, it is contaminated with modes of nature. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Yajnartha karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Activities performed only for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord are pure and not contaminated by modes of nature. All other activities are contaminated modes of ignorance and passion, as well as goodness. All these material activities meant for satisfying the senses, are contaminated, and Maharaj Nabi did not perform anything contaminated. He simply executed his transcendental activities even when performing yajna. Consequently, he obtained the Supreme Lord as his son. So that is and the second verse, Brahmanyo anya kuto nabhir vipra mangala pujitaha yasya barhishi yagnesham darshayam asur ojasa. So these are the two verses glorifying Nabi. The second pair is, who is better worshipper of Brahmanas than Maharaj Nabi? Because he worshipped the qualified Brahmanas to their full satisfaction. The Brahmanas, by their Brahmanical powers, showed Maharaj Navi the Supreme Lord in person. Not only person, he came as a son only. So Brahmanas engaged. So this is very important. If you are worshipping Brahmanas to their full satisfaction, Brahmanas also will show their power. And by their Brahmanical power, they showed Navi. So same thing with Guru also. You please Guru, yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. If you please Guru, and Guru with his power, he will show the Supreme Lord. The Brahmanas engaged as priests in the sacrificial ceremony were not ordinary Brahmanas. They were so powerful that they could bring forth the Supreme Lord by their prayers. Thus Maharaj Navi was able to see the Lord face to face. Unless one is a Vaishnava, he cannot call for the Supreme Lord. The Lord does not accept an invitation unless one is a Vaishnava. Padma Purana says, Satkarma nipuno vipraha mantratantra vishadara avaishnavas guru nasyad vaishnavas sapajo guru. So these Brahmanas are certainly very expert in chanting Vedic mantras. Therefore, by their spiritual power, they could call on the Supreme Lord. So this is what benefit he got by nicely serving them. So now Rishabdev became the king. After Nabi departed Badrikashram, the Supreme Lord Rishabdev understood that his kingdom was his field of activity. He therefore showed himself as an example and taught the duties of householder by first accepting brahmacharya under the direction of spiritual master. He also went to live as the spiritual master's place, Gurukula. After his education was finished, he gave his gifts, Guru Dakshina, to his spiritual master, and then accepted the life of householder. He took a wife named Jayanti and begot 100 sons who were as powerful and qualified as he himself. With his wife Jayanti, he had been offered to him by Indra, the king of heaven. He gave his wife. Rishabdev and Jayanti performed household life in an exemplary way, carrying out ritualistic activities obtained by Sriti and Smriti Shastras. So I will again show the slide for you. This is actually what happened there. So these are the signs that are marked, and then Indra trying to pour rain, and Navi made him son, and here, so he took brahmacharya very strictly, and then he married Jayanta. And then we'll come to the next. So here another. I'm showing the slide so that you can remember what is happening there. So that he gave Guru Dakshina. Being an incarnation of Supreme Lord, Rishabdev had nothing to do with material affairs. So in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Chaddashrutam. The purpose of an incarnation is to liberate the devotees, stop the demonic activities of non-devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that in order to preach, one must live a practical life and show people how to do things. Apani Acharya Bhakti Shikhaimu Sabara. One cannot teach others unless he behaves the same way himself. So Rishabdev was an ideal king. Just hearing only so nice, no? The name itself is so pleasing, Rishabdev. Although Rishabdev had nothing to learn from Gurukul, he went there to teach. So Smriti Puranadi Panjarate Vidimina Ekantiki Hari Bhakti Utpate Eva Kalpate. So human society must follow the instructions of Shruti and Smriti. So he remained as a Grihastha, exemplary Grihastha. Then he says, of Rishabha's 100 sons, the elder named Bharata was a great exalted devotee qualified with best attributes. In his honor, this planet has become known as Bharata Varsha. So till that time it was Ajnaba Varsha, then he became Bharata Varsha because he's too powerful, that's why. This planet known as Bharata Varsha is called Punya Bhumi, the pious land. At the present moment, Bharata Bhumi or Bharata Varsha is a small piece of land extending from the Himalayas to Cape Comorin. Sometimes this peninsula is called Punya Bhumi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given special importance to the people of this land. Bharata Bhumi te hoile manusya janma yolayar janma sartha kari kara paropakar. So this is a special tract of land. They can purify their existence and they can help others also, and it is happening like that. So here practicing bhakti in India is very easy compared to others. Following Bharata, there were 99 other sons. Among these were 9 elderly sons named Kushavrata, Ilavrata, Brahmavarta, Malaya, Ketu, Bhadrasena, Indraspraka, Vidarbha and Kikata. So there are 99 sons. And then in that there are others also. In addition to these sons, there is Kavi, Havya, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Vippalayana, Abhihotra, Drumala, Chamasa and Karavhajana. These are all very exalted, advanced devotees, authorized preachers of Srimad Bhagavatam. These devotees were glorified due to their strong devotion to Vasudeva, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they were very exalted. To satisfy the mind perfectly, I, Sukadeva Goswami, shall hear and describe the characters of the 9 devotees when I discuss the conversation between Narada and Vyasa. So this happens in the 11th canto. We'll hear from all these Navayogendras. There's a very, very nice instructions. In addition to these 19 sons, so the first is Bharata, and after that 9 sons. They all became the rulers of this Jambudvipa, different parts. And then there are 9 sons who became all Mahabhagavatas, and then remaining are 81 sons. So these 81 youngers, all born of Rishabdev and Jayanti, according to order of their father, they became well cultured, well behaved, very pure in their activity, and expert in Vedic knowledge and performance of Vedic rituals. Thus, they all became perfectly qualified Brahmanas. So, 81 Brahmanas, 9 Paramahamsas, and 10 kings. So, that 10 Kshatriyas were born, like that. So, from this verse, we have a good information how the castes are qualified according to quality. Rishabdev, a king, was certainly a king. He had 100 sons. Out of these, 10 were engaged in Kshatriya ruler. 9 sons became great preachers of Mahabhagavata. And this indicates that they were above the position of Brahmanas. And 81 sons became highly qualified Brahmanas. You see? So all the sons of Maharaj Rishabdev were Kshatriyas by birth, but by quality, some became Kshatriyas, some Brahmanas, and 9 became Mahabhagavatas. So this is the proof that it is not just by birth, it is the qualities that is actually what matters. And being incarnation of Supreme Lord, this is the Tirthankars of Jainism is Rishabdev only. But they don't understand his teaching. They misunderstood his teaching. That will come because of the King Venka. Being an incarnation of Supreme Lord, Rishabdev was fully independent because his form was spiritual, eternal, blissful. He internally had nothing to do with the 4 principles of material misery, birth, death, old age, nor he has material attachment. He was always equipoised and he saw everyone on the same level. He was unhappy to see others unhappy. He was well-wisher of all living entities. Although he was perfect personality, he nonetheless acted as if an ordinary conditioned soul. So he followed all these Varnashrama Dharma principles and all. And in due course of time, the principles of Varnashrama had become neglected. Therefore, through his personal character and behavior, he taught the ignorant public how to perform duties within Varnashrama. So he again made established, because he showed how people could remain householders and at the same time become perfect by following the principles of Varnashrama. So Prabhupada is again going to speak. Varnashrama is meant for imperfect conditioned souls. It trains them to become spiritually advanced in order to return home back to Godhead. A civilization that does not know the highest aim of life is no better than animal society. Nate viduswarda gatim hi Vishnu. So Varnashrama enables human society to become perfectly fit. So it's a very scientific system that is arranged by the Lord. And whatever action is performed, great man, so yadyat acharati shreshtham tattat anuvartate lokaha. So this is what is explained here. So king should follow the standards. Although Rishabdev knew everything about confidential Vedic knowledge, which includes information about all types of occupation and duties, he still maintained himself as a Kshatriya and followed the instructions of Brahmanas. Thus he ruled the people according to system of Varnashrama. So he knows all the things, but he followed the things to set an example. So men trained perfectly as Brahmana should know all the Vedic literature, and benefit derived from this literature should be distributed to general populace. So we have to teach what we know properly and apply it and teach. And Lord Rishabdev performed all kinds of sacrifice 100 times according to the instructions of Vedic injunctions, and he satisfied the Supreme Lord. All the rituals were enriched by first class ingredients, which are not possible now, and they were executed in holy places according to proper time by priests who are all youthful and faithful. In this way, Lord Vishnu was worshipped and the prasad was offered to the demigods, that the functions and festivals were all successful. So Rishabdev, he did, it looks very simple, but it was actually very perfectly done. So a ritual should be performed by young men. Wow, this is first time I am hearing. A ritual should be performed by young men, even boys at a tender age, in order for the ritual to be performed successfully. Kaumar Acharayat Prajna. From childhood, people should be trained in Vedic culture, especially in devotional service. In this way, one can perfect one's lives. A Vaishnava does not disrespect demigods, but on the other hand, he is not foolish that he accepts each and every demigod as Supreme Lord. So Vaishnavas should not disrespect demigods. Any disrespect is not good. Supreme Lord is master of all demigods. So here Vaishnavas worship the demigods in relation to Govinda, not independently. So this is because he offered prasadam to demigods. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasavabhritya. So then what did he do? No one likes to possess anything that is like a will o wisp or flower in the sky, for everyone knows very well that such things do not exist. When Rishabdev ruled this planet of Bharatavarsha, even common men did not want to ask for anything at the time or by any means. No one ever asked for a will o wisp. In other words, everyone is completely satisfied. Therefore, there was no chance for anyone's asking for anything. People are absorbed in great affection for the king. Since his affection was always expanding, they were not inclined to ask anything. So, in the Bengal, the word Ghoda Dimba is used, which means the egg of a horse. Since a horse never lays an egg, the word Ghoda Dimba actually means no meaning. In Sanskrit, there is a word Kaha Pushpa, which means the flower in the sky. No flower grows in the sky. Therefore, no one is interested in asking for Kaha Pushpa or Goda Dimba. So, during the reign of Maharaj Rishabdev, people were so well equipped that they did not want to ask for anything. They were immensely supplied with all necessities of life due to King Rishabdev's good governance. Yeah. Actually, we are fortunate. Every day we are completing one chapter. What Prabhupada's purport we are completing. So we are hearing directly from Prabhupada every day. We are very fortunate in that. So just spending little time. If the citizens are unhappy due to bad governance, the head of government are condemned. During these democratic days, monarchy is disliked by people, but here is example of how an emperor of the world would keep all citizens fully satisfied. Yeah. So because everybody was doing his duty, there were no question of rights in Vedic. Everybody is interested in their duty. Once while touring the world, Rishabdev, the Supreme Lord, reached a place known as Brahmavarta. There was a great conference of learned Brahmanas at this place, and all the king's sons attentively heard the instructions of the Brahmanas. At that assembly, within the hearing of citizens, Rishabdev instructed his sons, although they were already very well behaved, devoted and qualified. He instructed them so that in future they could rule the world very perfectly. Thus he spoke as follows. So here the instructions of Rishabdev to his sons are very valuable if one wants to live peacefully within the world, which is full of miseries. In the next chapter, Rishabdev tells. So we'll just come to our presentation here. So Rishabdev, so he wanted to each by his example. So conditioned soul, varnashram duty, household duties. So the golden rule is whatever action is performed by great man, common man follows. So that's where Rishabdev was doing everything properly. Rishabdev was fully independent and unconnected to birth and death. He acted as an ordinary conditioned soul strictly to teach the neglected principles of Varnashrama, to demonstrate how to regulate life for the reputation, well-being, pleasure and ultimately eternal life. So he did a perfect student life as a brahmachari. He fought and he gave Guru Dakshina, and then he married strictly according to Sruti and Smriti. Then his eldest son from Ajanava became Bharatavarsha in honor of this planet, and then his other 9 sons became exalted devotees: Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pippalayana, 9 Navayogandras. And remaining 81 sons, they all became Brahmanas, 9 plus 1. They all became kings. Bharata plus 9 sons. They started ruling various tracts of the Jambudvipa. And then the 8 sons, 81 sons, they became proper Brahmanas. Then he properly ruled according to the direction of the Brahmanas. The rule was defined by mind. His rule was defined by the mind control, sense control, tolerance. And another important thing is, people were completely satisfied. No one asked for will or wish. People do not desire things that do not exist. So under Rishabdev, the sisters are so completely satisfied that they did not ask for anything, not even possible things, let alone impossible things. So because absorbed in ever expanding affection for the king, the people had no room for material want. And then he performed 100 sacrifices and first class ingredients, proper astrology, timing was proper, youthful brahmanas, faithful and qualified priest, and the result was offered to the demigods, ensuring universal satisfaction. And then here at the place called Brahmavarta, he started, while touring the world, the Lord reached Brahmavarta, where a great conference of learned Brahmanas were held. Within the hearing of his citizens, Rishabdev began to instruct his 100 sons to teach the ultimate goal of life and the art of perfect governance. This sets the stage for his final, most profound teachings, which will be the next chapter tomorrow. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you all very much. Okay, yes, we have one question. Yes, Narhari Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. And
Dandavad.
Prabhuji, just I want to get where can I get Prabhu? Every day I want to see. I'm hearing the Bhagavatam class, but actually that I'm forgetting also. So where can I get these notes, Prabhu?
Pro, it is posted in the group. Prabhuji will, Balram Shakti Pro, in the same group it is posted. You are joining, okay, I'll
Yes,
post
Prabhu.
it. You are in the Bhakti courses group, no?
Yes, I am in that group, Prabhu.
So Prabhuji posts the recordings. You can see the recordings. Prabhupada Purport reading session, that recordings are separately posted in the same group.
Okay. Prabhu, these notes will not get it, Prabhuji. It's just.
I'll post in the group the notes also.
Yes. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.